Welcome to Magic Arcanum. I'm Ryan Gomez, behind the scenes, Nicole Burdick, and we're so glad you're here because it's story time, and not just any story time. This is a special preview story time. We have a card from the upcoming set Dominaria United, thanks to our friends at Wizards of the Coast. So I'm glad you guys are all here. It is a rainy Tuesday morning for me. There's some thunderstorms forecast for a little later, so if things just kind of abruptly stop, it's probably because the power went out, but hopefully it won't come to that. I'm really excited to show you guys a fun card from Dominaria United. I hope you guys are pumped about this set. I love Dominaria. It is where Magic began. It is where some of the best stories take place, and we're all about stories here on Magic Arcanum. So I'm really pumped to do this. We're going to reveal the card a little bit at a time. I know you're here hoping I'm just going to throw it up on screen and be done with it, but we're gonna stretch this out a bit. And then I got some decks to show that are kind of inspired by the card, or maybe you could slot the card into when it becomes available on Magic Arena. It is not yet, of course. So what do you think? Do you guys want to see some of the card now? Should we just start with that, or should we start with some gameplay? I don't know. I've never really done a live stream card reveal before, so what should we do? Oh, okay, so in chat we've got people guessing already. Is it an artifact? Maybe. They're looking at the deck. So the deck inspired by today's card certainly does have a lot of artifacts in it. So today's card, is it an artifact? What do you guys think? Sound off in chat. Do we think it's an artifact? Let's see, can I do a poll? I think I could do a poll. Let me try this. Create a poll. Is our card an artifact? Yes? No. Okay. How does this work? No, I don't want to add any more options. No, stop. Okay, there we go. All right. Is our card an artifact? Based on this teaser deck list I'm showing you right now. We'll let this run for a minute. Oh, this is fun. We should do this all the time. This is great. I'm so glad you guys are here. Need to get... It's story time! Yeah. All right, we have a guest for a Saga. We've got some people want me to show mana cost first. Okay, so I already have the card all split up. Nicole did a great job kind of dicing it into pieces so we can show you a little bit, teaser style. There are some clues on screen already based on the deck, maybe based on what I'm wearing or what's in the room around me. You got to be detectives here, guys. I'm not going to do this all for you. You got to unravel the story. We're gonna tell it together. You wouldn't do that to us, artifact. Background image implies it's a red Saga, so somebody did look at the thumbnail. Okay. So let's see. How do I view this poll now? No, I can't see it. So I ask a poll, but the little pop-out chat box doesn't show me what your answers are. All right. So calling it now, blue artifact synergy card, legendary creature that works with artifacts. A lot of mechanics seem inspired by old mechanics. Enlist reminds me of banding. You're not wrong. Enlist does feel a lot like banding. All right, it's obviously an artifact enchantment, Saga people. All right, you guys have some fabulous guesses here, but I think we're gonna go take a look. Here is the very first peek at our preview card from Dominaria United. Again, thank you to Wizards of the Coast. Let's see who had it right. All right, so we have a red Saga card. It is an uncommon. It costs 1 and a red, and it's called Yotia Declares War, or Yotia. I always pronounced it Yotia. I'm thinking of Yotian Soldier, which was a card from way back in the day. It was like a 1/4 artifact creature with vigilance. So there we go. We have a Saga called Yotia Declares War. It's a red Saga, and it's an uncommon. Still a lot there to reveal. Obviously, we've got 3 chapters. We've got some art that might tell us something. So there we go. It's got a read ahead. Well, yes. Okay, so full disclosure here. When Nicole and I were given this card to preview, they just sent it over in an email. And they're like, here's your preview card. You can't talk about it until August 23rd. They didn't tell us how many other sagas were going to be in the set. They didn't tell us if they were all going to share some mechanic to them, like the sagas on Kamigawa all flipped into creatures. The sagas on Kaldheim, I think, were all multicolored. We really had no idea. So we split this card up a bunch of different ways, thinking maybe we needed to hide the read ahead. Maybe not all sagas have that, but I mean, you can probably tell if you've seen the rules, you know what's coming up next here. So I would love to hear some guesses. What do we think Yotia Declares War is going to do? And mind you, we already know some of the mechanics for this set. We know things like Domain and Kicker and Enlist. Those are all interesting mechanics. Does this saga play in to that somehow? Or is it going to do something else? Returns artifacts from the grave? Could be. You'd have to read ahead on read ahead. Yeah. Not an artifact. What do I win? Well, you don't win anything yet because maybe there's a twist to this one still. I'm not saying anything for sure. Does it burn somebody? Well, a nation declaring war certainly would lead to some burns happening, I think. I guess it creates artifacts or maybe reduces the costs of artifacts. Probably creates soldier tokens or something. Okay. These are great guesses. Do you guys want to see a little bit more? I think we can do a little bit more of the card. We'll go up one more step here. Let's see. If we peel away some of the hidden stuff, what do we get next? Okay, so here's a look at the art by Fariba Kamesi. I hope I'm getting that close to being right. But there's the art for our saga. So Yotia Declares War, and there's definitely some war happening in this art. Take a moment, soak that in. Tell me if you recognize anything or anyone in the art for our card here, courtesy of Wizards of the Coast. All right, more guesses pouring in. Haste and traitor effects. Gain control of creature equal to the number of artifacts you control. Thopters. Okay, so yes, up at the top of that of art there, we can definitely see a Thopter. That is a classic Magic card, the old O2 flyer. So we got some Thopter action happening here. Maybe that will be connected to this saga somehow. All right, so we're going to come back to that in a minute. You guys can continue to brainstorm some ideas here based on the art that we've got. We're going to switch back over. All right. So we know Thopters are maybe involved. We see some artifacts happening there. Yotian Soldier was an artifact, and we have a saga with the word war in it. So with all that in mind, I created this deck based on the Antiquities War, which is a saga. Ooh, why is it not? There we go. A saga from the original Visit to Dominaria, which also cares about artifacts. And I think, once the new saga card becomes available, you could probably slot it right into this deck. Not to give away too much there. But the theme of this deck, the Antiquities War, is that things were going poorly on Dominaria. Urza and Mishra were at war with each other, fighting over the split power stone that they had found in the caves of Koilos. And so each of them rallied big armies and fought against each other. So we're on Urza's side for this. We've got Karn with us, the scion of Urza there. And then I tried to pick some artifacts that maybe are not on Dominaria explicitly, but they could be. So something like Silver Raven, I could see Urza building a little scout bird, something like this. It's an artifact creature, and it's going to scry when it enters the battlefield. Iron Apprentice, again, I could see Urza having little helpers around his workshops doing something to kind of help manufacture his war machines. Stone Coil Serpent kind of fits with like the themes of Dominaria. Again, this is from Eldraine, but we've seen kind of snaky looking beasts over there, so I think it's fine. We've got a couple of negates just to kind of protect our team from board wipes and whatnot. The Automated Artificer, again, I could see Urza building something like this, even though it's from Kamigawa. Damping Sphere is from Dominaria. It's a Thran artifact. This kind of shuts down people from trying to storm off against us. And it's kind of cool when this becomes a creature, thanks to the 3rd chapter on Antiquities War. Patchwork Automaton. Again, Urza could totally make one of these, even though it's from Kamigawa. It's going to get bigger for all of our artifacts. The Steel Overseer is going to pump our whole team. Voltaic Servant can maybe combo with the Overseer, let us get 2 activations per turn cycle. Myriad Construct is from Zendikar, but again, Urza would totally build something like this if he had thought of it. It's a 4-mana 4/4. If our opponent targets it with a spell, it breaks apart into lots of little 1/1s, which are great with the Overseer and great with the final chapter of Antiquity's War, which I guess we should read real quick. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, reveal an artifact from among them, put it into your hand. Cool, so we get to draw 2 artifacts. And then artifacts you control become artifact creatures with base power and toughness 5/5 until end of turn. That works great with all the +1/+1 counters we will hopefully have stored up from Apprentice, Stonecoil, and Patchwork Automaton, all those guys. And then we've got some Mystic Forges here to kind of help us dig through our deck a little bit. And Solemn Simulacrum, one of the best robots ever made, can ramp us up. And when it dies, draws us a card. We got a few Mirage basics on theme for Dominaria. And some Zhalfirin Voids. The colorless mana doesn't really hurt us. So that is my deck for the Antiquity's War, which again, very similar to what we've seen with our preview card already. We flip back over to that. Yotia Declares War. So same kind of idea, kind of tapping into the power of the artifacts here. Do you guys want to see a little more of this card before we do a game with Antiquity's War? I feel like you're being pretty engaging here in the chat. I feel like I should reward you all with a little bit more of this preview card. That is why you're here. All right, so final guesses. We've got something to do with Thopters. We've got something to do with gaining control of creatures. We got damage. We got all sorts of ideas here that could come off of this card. Let's peel back another layer, and thank you to Nicole for doing a great job with these graphics here. Let's see if we can make sure I get this right. I don't want to show too much of the card too quickly, but if I... There we go. Okay, so yes, this is a read-ahead saga. For anyone who has not been following the mechanics for Dominaria United, read-ahead is a new mechanic that appears on the sagas in this set. I believe there are 10 sagas total, and I think they all have read-ahead. So you get to choose a chapter to start with, and you get that many lore counters, and then you add 1 after your draw step. Skipped chapters don't trigger, and you sacrifice it after the 3rd. So you can start with chapter 1 and go 2 and 3 over the course of 3 turns. You could jump straight to the end of the story if you like to read ahead and get the payoff there at the end. So what are we reading ahead? What's it gonna do? What kind of steps would we be okay skipping? What kind of effect are we looking for? I don't know. Yotia Declares War. That's our preview card from Dominaria United. We're going to jump back over to the game, though. We're going to fire off a match here with my version of Antiquity's War. We'll see how that does. All right. And yeah, so this is a Explorer legal deck, which means it's a Pioneer legal deck. If you think it looks cool, you could make this one in Pauper, or in paper, not in Pauper. A lot of rares for Pauper. You can make it in paper. All right, opening hand, kind of rich on 4 drops, but Stonecoil Serpent can be whatever we want him to be. So we'll see if we can make this work. Chapter 1 could create a Thopter maybe, then deal damage based on artifacts you control. Maybe. I mean, who knows, right? Could be anything. Could be a boat. All right, do we want to start with a Stonecoil for 1? I guess. We got so many of these. We'll throw one out there. Opponent opened with a Soul Guide Lantern. Luckily, we're not doing too much with our graveyard in this deck, so I think we'll be okay. Read ahead is my favorite mechanic in the set. Really intuitive, natural evolution of sagas. It is an interesting twist, and it does give you some flexibility there. I think read ahead is cool. I don't know if it's my favorite in this set. We haven't really seen the whole set yet. Haven't seen all the sagas. But read ahead is a nice evolution of saga design, and we're going to make a 2-mana Stonecoil. I think I like the Kamigawa sagas that flipped into creatures as kind of like the final chapter of their story. I thought that was pretty great. But the Dominaria sagas are also very cool. All right, our opponent has something foretold. Do we think that's a counterspell or a Doomscar? just in case that's a Doomscar, I do not want to commit anything else to the board. I think next turn we'll do the Solemn Simulacrum, though, because if that dies, I'm fine. And our opponent has realized their graveyard hate is not going to help them. Oh, it was Behold the Multiverse. All right. Always happy to see sagas of all types. Yes, sagas are a great card type for telling stories, and we're all about that here on Magic Arcana. We love our stories. So when the first sagas came out they did have a board wipe. When those first sagas came out in the original Dominaria, they were so cool. We're going to try to get some more lands out of our deck. And sagas can be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see the rest of the ones in this set, and I'm really glad that WotC gave us a Saga 2 preview. I think that's pretty sweet. Okay, opponent's still not really doing a whole lot here. Obviously on some sort of blue-white control. We'll keep that bird on top. And just hammer in, and if they want to counter this, I think that's okay. So hopefully our little army of artifacts here can win the Antiquities War against our opponent, but who knows. All right. Drop a Raven. Get to Scry. Ooh, Damping Sphere. That could be good against a deck that wants to string multiple spells together in a turn. We'll see. Just keep chipping away on their life total. It's Capital Crew got a callback in original Dominaria with Traxos. Yeah. So Yotia doesn't appear a whole lot in the stories as far as I remember, or as far as I know. I really just remember Yotia and Soldier from way back in the day, and it might have appeared in the flavor text of like one or two other things. Depart the Realm. Okay. So do we just kill Narset or do we ignore Narset? We're not really ever drawing extra cards. So I think we can ignore her. And then do we want to continue ramping? Sure. This is going to hurt if they board wipe us, I guess, because now our simulacrums won't both trigger thanks to Narset. Ah, well. Doesn't matter. We're having a good time. We're playing some Magic. We're doing previews. It'd be cool if they brought back Dragon Engines. That would be cool, wouldn't it? What if you could build your own somehow? Would you do that? Do you think maybe in like Brothers War we're gonna get some really cool toys? I think. Let's see. I gotta pay attention to the game here. I get to draw just one, right? That's fine. Totally fine. Yeah, I think Dominaria United is setting up the Phyrexians. Brothers War is going to... man, do we do our own card advantage engine here? Or are they sitting on a Saw It Coming? Boo! We don't get to have Karn this game. That's fine. We could have a 2/2 Stone Coil. That's a clock. We'll take that. Yeah, I think we get Phyrexians now. Brothers War will probably give us some more cool tools to fight the Phyrexians. Dreamcall. Hey, we have protection from multicolor. Not afraid of you. Okay. I don't love that they can attack and gain life and all that, though. So, don't really know how we're going to get past. Can't block it. There we go. And then, what do I want? Do I just want a Myriad Construct? A big one? Yeah, I guess we can kick it. It's only going to be a 5/5 because they only have one non-basic land. But hey, that's fine. At least it offsets the life that they will try to gain with the Dreamcrawler, and now it's got enough power to punch through their toughness. So we might be able to win this one. We'll see. They can't attack through the Serpent. It has reach. Correct, but I did use my Serpent to attack them, so they could attack in now. They are desperately digging for cards. So I think now we're going to start leaving the Serpent back to block and just hit with the construct. Or try to. How many board wipes do we think they have? They've used 2 Shatter the Sky already. Do they have more? Is it worth trying to go wide to get around this thing, or do we not want to overextend? Well, let's do one more. Let's see if they answer this. And then I think dropping another Damping Sphere on them is going to really... really lock them down, because now they can't cast more than 1 spell a turn. Oh, they're not even going to let us have a Damping Sphere. Interesting. Okay. How is Damping Sphere any good? It's usually a sideboard card, but I like it. It has won me games in practice, and I just thought having a Thran artifact in our Antiquities War deck kind of made sense. But each spell a player casts costs 1 more to cast for each other spell that player has already cast this turn. Our deck doesn't usually spend a lot or play a lot of spells in a single turn, so it doesn't hurt us a lot. But so what if I block this, right? It's protection from multicolored. They shouldn't gain any life because they're not going to do any damage. Yeah, so that did nothing. Okay. That's fine. So do we just win now? Or do they have instant speed answers? Ah, they're going to break our construct into many small constructs. All right, well, now we can't block that. Maybe we got too aggressive there. We should have kept our serpent back. Because now they get to gain another chunk of life. It was too hasty, man. Too hasty. Now they die. Yeah, I thought they were going to die, but they had an answer. Can they answer all these little 1/1s, though? Alright. Opponent drawing tons of cards. They have the Immortal Sun. They get extra cards. It's fine. I mean, again, the Damping Sphere makes it harder to play more and more cards per turn. Whereas we just want to cast, like, a giant Stone Coil Serpent and be done with it. I don't think they'll gain enough life. They're up to 10. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We have 11. Okay, I don't think we're coming back from that. Yeah, I'm not gonna... whatever. All right, we lose the first Antiquities War, but we'll be back for the sequel. It's fine. We got too much other important stuff to do. I'm not gonna sit and watch a blue-white control deck dirtle out for 5 more turns. Oh well. Gee, what will cheer me up after losing that? Will it be showing more preview card? I think so. All right, so for anyone who just joined, we are showing off a card from Dominaria United. It is a Saga called Yotia Declares War. It costs 1 and a red. It's an uncommon, and it has read ahead. Pretty standard stuff for a Saga so far. Let's see what our first... They punted by hitting creatures. Yeah, I guess they didn't have to blow up their own dream trawler. They could have just hit artifacts. Anyway, let's peel off another layer here and see what Yotia Declares War might do for its first chapter, or first verse. We get to create an 0/2 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying named Ornithopter. There you go. It's a classic card. It's right there in the art. And our Saga does create an Ornithopter for free. Which, I mean, Ornithopter is famous for already being a free artifact, but there you go. The first verse of our Saga makes the Ornithopter that is shown in the art, I guess, over the city of Yotia. So, what could we do with this Thopter? What are the next 2 chapters going to do that could make use of this card? Or what would you want to read ahead to and skip over? What's better than making a Ornithopter? Interesting, interesting. Interesting. Discard your hand? I hope we're not discarding our hand after making a 0-2. We need to do something better than that. Ornithopter for 2. What a ripoff. Well, then just skip that chapter if you don't like it. I don't care. All right. So you guys think about that. What could happen after our Thopter shows up? Could be anything. Could be something good. Wow, Ornithopter, not just any old regular Thopter. It is Ornithopter itself. Ornithopter Prime. Make 2 Ornithopters. That'd be pretty great, right? Just a swarm of O2s. Could be. All right, back to games. We've got hopefully a little bit better curve. I think we were too top heavy last time. So, will we win the Antiquities War? We got some islands. We got a void. We got a negate. We got some more 4-drops. Maybe this deck is too heavy on 4-drops. I don't know. Let's see if we can find like something else. Another 4-drop, but it's Karn. We got to keep him, right? We got to. Chapter 2, destroy all artifacts. That'd be hilarious. You make a. All right, so, I guess the Patchwork Automaton is a okay card here. That Ward 2 should be protected from any burn. They do nothing. So let's see how big we can make our Automaton. Iron Apprentice, again, something you could find in Urza's workshop for sure. And if we drop a Damping Sphere here, that's going to buff our Automaton, and it might slow down their ability to draw cards, burn us out, all that sort of stuff. They're going to counter it. See, people are so afraid of the Damping Sphere. They use counter spells on it. They use... they just don't want it on the table. It messes up their game plan. I'm convinced it's not a sideboard card. I think Damping Sphere, you could main deck it, and you're going to be all right. Did not find a 4th land. Ouch. Not big enough to punch through this thing. Ouch. So I think we still try, because if they eat the Apprentice, our Automaton gets bigger. If they let this damage all through, that's great. More guesses coming in for the Saga. Ideal Chapter 2 would be put a +1/+1 counter on each Thopter you control. That would make your Ornithopter into a scary threat, a 1/3 flyer, sure. Target artifact creature gets swole. Yeah, that'd be good. Maybe a way to buff up your Ornithopter. Artifact creature power equal to their toughness. So kind of like a assault formation or something, where they deal damage equal to their toughness rather than their power. That'd be a cool way to weaponize Ornithopters. You guys are great card designers. We should do like a custom cube or something together. That'd be fun. All right, opponent deep in the tank, wondering what combat trick I have on 2 blue mana, or why I would attack recklessly into their electrostatic field. Oh dear. Manifest, playing my favorite kind of blue-red. Yeah, they've got the pinger here with Kessig Flame Breather. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, free damage. Electrostatic field, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, free damage. But you do have to do something. You have to play cards, or at least pass the clock back, because this ain't it, Chief. All right, we'll just get in for free, and we'll sit on our negate in case they try to blow somebody up. Really want to find a 4th land so we can find a 5th land, or maybe we start carning them out. More guesses coming in. Make a 1/4 vigilance named Yotian Soldier. That would be a nice callback to the original card, wouldn't it? All right, did our opponent disconnect? Are they so scared of our artifacts that they don't even want to play Magic anymore? Did they just go home? Something's happening here. Maybe a connection issue. Yeah, it could be. I mean, it's unfortunate. But they have time. They have time on the clock. We'll give them a sec. I always like to assume that it's a disconnect or an issue and not just bad manners, but who knows. Maybe they are trying to rapidly log in on YouTube and find this stream and, you know, snipe my hand. There we go. We win. Technically, we are 1-1 with Antiquities War. I'll take it. I'll take it. Shame I can't buff a Patchwork Automaton with this Saga Chapter 1 because it's not casting an artifact. You're right. Yeah, the automatons need to see you cast it, not just enter the battlefield. So a little bit of a non-bow there, but that's all right. All right, so to celebrate our victory, should we go look at the card again? I guess we should. And again, for anyone who just joined us, welcome to the stream. We're hanging out, we're playing some Magic. It's a rainy Tuesday, but we got a preview card from Dominaria United. It's called Yotia Declares War. It's a Saga that costs 1 and a red. It's got the Read Ahead ability, so you can pick whatever verse to start on you want. And the first one that you could start on creates a 0/2 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying named Ornithopter, one of the classic cards of yesterday. Dominaria is all about history and looking back at the past, so it's great to see these little references to older cards. Let's see what comes after verse number 1. What do we do next? We get to tap any number of untapped artifacts we control, and when we do, Yotia Declares War deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker. So you play this on turn 2, you get your Ornithopter. On turn 3, you could tap that Ornithopter, deal 1 damage to something, which is better than you were going to do with the O2 Thopter. But effects like this, we've seen those before. I think there was a card back in Kaladesh, and somebody can help me with the name here, Defense Grid or Aether Grid, or yeah, Gear-Per Aether Grid. So not something we've never seen before. And it is a useful ability, especially in maybe in limited. You know, if you draft this, if you get into a bit of a board stall, you need to punch through some damage, but it's not safe to attack. You can tap your artifacts and just burn something out. Also note, this works with things like treasure tokens. You can tap your treasures, turn them into damage. Works with food tokens, works with the blood tokens from our last visit to Innistrad, which will also still be in standard. So you could do that. You could turn 1 Voldarin Epicure, make a blood token. Turn 2, slam down this. You could even read right ahead and use that blood token to get something out of the way and have a very aggressive red deck if that's the direction you want to go. Works with the the Oni Cult Anvil decks, all sorts of stuff. So where will you put Yotia Declares War? Will it be in an aggressive red deck or more of a slow and controlling kind of a thing? I don't know. So guesses for the final chapter. Think it'll let you sacrifice artifacts to deal damage. Okay. Artifact lands, boom damage for every mana. Yeah, there you go. Now you're thinking with portals. I'm sorry, yeah, Gear-Per Aether Grid was Magic Origins, even though it's from Kaladesh. Yeah, that's right. Oh man, I was a man lost in time there. I was thinking of the wrong era. But yeah, neat cards all the same. So I guess that means that predated even Treasure and everything. So that's pretty cool. All right. So there you go. There is the second verse of Yotia Declares War. Speaking of war, we've got our Antiquities War deck going. Let's jump back over and see if we can go to bed and sound really tired. It has been a long couple of days. Getting this preview all set up. I got some other irons in the fire. I just redid my whole streaming rig. For anyone who watched previously, I had a giant TV sitting here because when I moved from Texas, the movers broke my original computer monitor, so I had an extra TV, but it was like 35 inches or something, and I was sitting, a foot away. Wasn't ideal. All right, again, a lot of 4-drops, not much to do early. I guess we'll try a mulligan. This is much better. Oof. I don't want to ditch the marquee card, but I think we got to. It is also just hard to have the energy to play Magic and stream, and I'm trying to not botch my first live stream preview somehow. I've got all these, buttons to click. I'm not super familiar with OBS, but I think I got it set up right that I'm not going to accidentally show you the whole card before I want to. I just wanted to do something fun and different. They have a Ley Line of Anticipation. Yikes. And they have Gyruda. This is a blue-green Gyruda deck. Okay. Well, we walked right into a Tangled Floral Hedron. They're not going to block with it. Okay. Is this constructed or draft? Right now, I'm playing a constructed deck that I made. It is an Explorer legal deck. It's called the Antiquities War. The idea was that I was inspired by this preview card that I've got, which is Yotia Declares War, which, as we've seen, works with artifacts. So this is an artifact deck, similar to something you could build with Yotia Declares War. Well, thank you for your support, friends. I'm glad you're here hanging out with me. I know it's just like a random Tuesday morning, and you probably have work you should be doing or something. But hey, why not play Magic? Why not see a preview card? Why not support your favorite lore mage? Let's see if we can stack these automatons. They let that resolve. Do we drop a 1-mana Stone Coil to buff everybody up? I think we do. We'll try it. And then that leaves us next turn to grab a Solemn Simulacrum. Okay, so they have 4 mana, and they have the ability to cast everything as though it had flash. What are we about to get hit by? A Spark Double. Yeah. That eats our Apprentice. I guess we'll make our Stone Coil bigger. Opponent going all in on the mana. And what are they going to do with such ramp? Currently at work. Should be working. Yes. I get it. I won't tell on you. It's fine. Okay. We haven't seen a counterspell from them yet. Are they just flashing it? I guess with Gyruda, you don't really want a lot of non-permanents. So maybe they don't have counterspells. Maybe they have Vorinclex. I think you were supposed to do that before. I guess you can't, though, right? Because this is on cast, so you can't stop them from getting the counter. Or they did stop it, because this was it. Oh, man. All right, well, we're not attacking into that. See, the problem when you make, like, a themed deck, you kind of limit yourself in a format where people do some really busted things. I was trying to just make, like, a fun Saga deck. This person's going off with multiple Vorinclexes now. I don't know. We don't have Urza Lord High Artificer in our deck or anything that broken. So this is 14 damage. Do we just take it? I mean, chump blocking doesn't really help. I don't want to block with like 3 people just to kill 1 Vorinclex yet. But these aren't going to get any more counters, right? Because he's going to stop it. Oh, here we go. Antiquities War. But it won't trigger because they have Vorinclex. All right. All right, opponent. You win the Antiquities War. Double. Classic Praetor or Counterspell Conundrum. Why blue lands? Because Antiquities War is a blue saga. We do need at least some blue mana in there to cast those. Explorer is hardcore these days. Brutal. All right, we're gonna run that back. We're gonna do one more. I know we still have more preview card to show. We're gonna get to that in just a minute. We're what, 1 and 2 now, and our only win came because somebody timed out or disconnected. So I guess you're gonna have to keep guessing what that third verse of the saga actually does. Fits with the current story of them having a Praetor. Yeah, I'm not surprised we're running into Phyrexians here. Why is Gyruda deck running Vorinclex anyway? Oh, is it? It's yeah, is Vorinclex not the right mana value? Because Gyruda only wants... No, it has to be, because he was the companion. So they had the right stuff. I don't know. People make interesting deck building choices, and that is the best part of Magic. All right, we have a lot more 2s, not so many 4s. We are playing against a Shadowborn Apostle deck. Can the artifacts beat the demons? Well, if they can. See, I don't know. On 2, do we go with the automaton or do we try to get some ramp here? I think I want to get Solemn Simulacrum as quick as I can. Or maybe not. Maybe I do this. Maybe it's automaton and overseer and grow our automaton. Okay. So if this gets them some big demon, we need to find our big snake with reach. It's really the only way we can stop flyers. This deck has no removal, has no nothing like that. Let's do Raven first. I mean, I guess that doesn't matter because I should have, yeah. Because whatever we just scried now gets shuffled away. It's fine though, it's totally fine. And yeah, we'll just pass. On their end step, we'll buff everybody up with the Overseer. If only we had a 2-mana Saga, we could use a later chapter to ping down creatures based on the amount of artifacts it had. Oh my god, that'd be perfect removal to slot right in here. He's gonna Infernal Grasp in response, buff. Okay, how many of these do they need? Sacrifice 6 creatures named Shadowborn Apostle. Search your library for a demon card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. I don't know that negate is really gonna help us. Maybe it will. And we can make this a 7? Seems good. And now we can do some attacks. Because I don't think they want to give up their apostles when they're so close, but they also don't... Ooh, they don't mind taking all that damage. Okay, so what demon do they go get? They have the 6 apostles. They have the black mana to cash them all in. But what demon can stand up to this board right now? Let's find out. This RoboCop versus a cult? I mean, sure. This doesn't do enough. Good game, Antiquities War. I think we got there. There we go. All right, we're 2-2. Woo! All right, Urza's Machines just stamped out a demon worshipping cult. Feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Yeah, Villas is probably the best one they could have got, but they don't have enough life to like use his ability, right? Because he can give stuff minus. And he could have maybe chipped away at our board, but it would have cost him too much life, and they didn't have any more mana either. All right. We're 2-2 with Antiquities War, which was inspired by our preview card. I think we have a little bit left on that to show, so let's get to it. And again, for anyone who just recently joined, we are doing a preview from Dominaria United, thanks to our friends at Wizards of the Coast. It is a saga called Yotia Declares War for 1 and a red. We can read ahead, so we can pick any of the verses to start on. The first one creates a 0/2 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying named Ornithopter. The second one lets us tap any number of untapped artifacts we control. When we do, we deal that much damage to target creature or planeswalker. And now the third and final verse on this card. Up to 1 target artifact you control becomes a creature with base power and toughness 4/4 until end of turn. Now, this actually has a typo on it, and that was on the version that they gave to me. It's supposed to say up to 1 target artifact you control becomes an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/4 until end of turn. So they omitted the word artifact in there. When you see this card on Magic Arena, it will have the correct text, but if you get the paper copy of this card, it will just say artifact. Oracle text, however, it is an artifact creature with base power and toughness 4/4. So, slam dunkies. That was anticlimactic. Rude. It's an uncommon Saga for 2 mana. Right, you turn your Ornithopter into a 4/4 for a turn. That's not terrible. Or, hear me out. Turn 1, play, I don't know, Darksteel Citadel, or a real Ornithopter, or Iron Apprentice, or something. Slam this down on 2, and immediately jump to that final chapter and turn your land. Well, I guess you can't. You don't want to turn your Darksteel Citadel because you just tapped it to cast this. But play any 1 mana artifact creature, and it becomes a 4/4 on turn 2. Now, obviously, it's only that way for 1 turn, but that's a pretty aggressive start. And again, you get to make an Ornithopter, and it can sit there. You can tap it for damage, and then on a later turn, it becomes a flying 4/4. I think this is a pretty flexible Saga. You got some options here. Each mode does something useful, although circumstantial, I will grant you. Yeah, Iron Apprentice is a 5/5 with this, right? Anything that has counters on it, when you set the base power and toughness, gets way better. If you gave this to Stonecoil Serpent, right? You play that for a bunch. It starts with a bunch of +1/+1 counters, then turn it into a base 4/4. It gets even bigger. It's basically a modal red card, never a bad thing. I agree. I think in Limited, this is pretty good. Maybe not first pick or anything, but as long as you got some other artifacts in your deck, synergy will be there. You could certainly build a whole deck around it, like I just did with Antiquities War. And again, this feels very similar, right? The final chapter sets the base power and toughness, although Antiquities War sets your whole team. This just sets 1 creature, but it only costs 2 mana instead of 4. So if I was remaking the Antiquities War deck, I would probably make it with this card instead. But there you go. And yeah, Read Ahead makes it a lot more interesting. So for 2 mana, you can just slam this down and upgrade something into a 4/4. Well, upgrade an artifact. And note that is, again, it turns an artifact into a 4/4. Your treasure token can become a 4/4. Your blood token can become a 4/4. Your food, if you're playing in a format that has that. Lots of artifacts these days that are tokens that can become a 4/4 out of nowhere for just 2 mana. That can definitely catch somebody unaware. And it also works with Myriad Construct. It's not a spell when it targets. There you go. See, you guys are so clever, thinking of all sorts of interesting ways. Smack them down with a food token. Yeah, why not? All right, so that is our preview card. Yotia Declares War. 2 mana Saga. Creates a Thopter. You can tap it and any number of other artifacts for some damage. And then you get one last push with a 4/4 or better. I think it's pretty neat. I think it's a fun little card, and I appreciate Wizards of the Coast sending it our way. Let's try to do one more game here with our Antiquities War deck. See if we can end with a positive record, or at least get one more win in here to celebrate today's preview card. Thank you everybody for joining me. I hope you're having a great day. The clouds are getting pretty dark out my window, so I think we're going to be wrapping up here in just a few minutes before this storm rolls in here and wraps things up for us. Throw the pie at them. I love it. Yeah, right. Bake something into a pie and then chuck it at their face, right? I mean, why not? All right. Opening hand looks good. Small curve. We go Island into Raven. This is the other reason we got blue mana in here. We have a 1-drop that can fly. And I understand Silver Raven, A, is not technically from Dominaria. B, not a very impressive card on its own. But when Antiquities War goes off, this becomes a 5/5 flyer. Like, that's painful. All right, we're going to set ourselves up to ramp with our automated Artificer. Again, something Urza himself could build, certainly. Although this card comes from Kamigawa, but machines building more machines, he did have that. We know it from other stories. If a food token becomes a 4/4, hits the opponent in the face, can that be a clown attack? Oh, yeah, Lizard Blades, there you go. Turn that into a 4/4. Oh, man, that's good. That's very good. That might be winner there. Turning Lizard Blades into a 4/4. Because it'll have double strike. 1/1 flyers always get into flying men, yeah. Arcanium Brainium. All right, so I think Nicole has logged in and she is on chat right now. I'm not typing anything that you're seeing show up there. That must be her. So, hey Nicole, thanks for joining us. We're doing a preview card today. Let's scry here. Do we need more lands? I don't think so. Do we just drop a giant serpent on them? Well, let's do our attacks first. See if they want to trade. They do not. Okay, so 4/5. We can make a 6/6, or do we just make this a 5 and keep an extra blocker? I think that's fine. All right, Antiquities War, doing some work here. Let's see if we can steal a win from the werewolves. I don't think there's werewolves on Dominaria. Nothing says there can't be. I mean, there's vampires, there's spirits, there's zombies, there's everything else from Innistrad, I suppose. There's what isn't there like an alpha card that was a werewolf? That would have been Dominaria, right? Oof. It blew it up. Does the 4/4 on that chapter ability override a vehicle's power and toughness? Yes, it would set the base power toughness to being 4/4. They're attacking with a bunch of 3s. We're not going to block. But yeah, the trick is to make sure you have crewed your vehicle before the Saga gets to it. Let's see. All right, let's do Forge. And we have a land coming up. I don't think we need more lands, so we'll shuffle that away. And we don't have enough now to cast that guy. Okay. Well, we'll just keep pinging with our bird. And do we want a 3-mana Stone Coil? I guess so. That might discourage their attacks. It would disregard the need to crew. Yeah, right. You would make it into a 4/4 creature. It would still have any of the abilities on it. Lesser Werewolf was in Legends, which I think was Dominaria. That sounds right. That sounds right to me. All right, let's cash this one in for the next one, I guess. Oof. Ooh. See, I could have put a stop there and ditched that, but it's fine. So we're going to land. I guess we play you. Play you off the top. Mystic Forge. Very Urza-like with our free stuff happening here. I mean, it's not free, but like we don't have to draw it. Oh my gosh. Our board just got huge. And, all right. So we only have 8 life, and werewolves are capable of dealing some real damage here if they drop Tolvar or something on us, or another Outland Liberator blowing up our artifacts. That would hurt. But right now we seem to have stabilized against them, and we got more artifacts coming, so I think we're in good shape. We might end here with a victory for our Antiquities War, inspired by our preview card. Our opponent carefully considering how they're going to get through it, or maybe they also had an issue. I love this style of deck. Always struggle to build one. What do you mean by that? You love like artifact decks or thematic decks? What kind of deck are you looking to build? Maybe we can help. What are you struggling with? Commander format. You want to do like a... Alright, so they are attacking with a multicolored card. We will block with our Stone Coil Serpent, who has protection from multicolored. Oh, they also have the 5/5. Almost didn't see that. Alright, I think I'm okay chump blocking here. So what does she do? She can create wolves. Alright, so she doesn't give something trample or whatever. Although I think there is a card that does that. Maybe I should have double blocked. It's fine. It's fine though, right? Can you plan to make a Phyrexian versus Coalition? You and Nicole playing Brawl. Heck yes! We will do that. Would love to do that. Only if I get Phyrexians. Nicole, you can have them. You can have them. Okay, what do we want here? Simulacrum. It's going to shuffle our deck, get this island off the top. Look at these beautiful Mirage Islands. Takes me all the way back to 1998 when I started playing. If you didn't watch the Legacy Pegasus video yet, go back and check that one out. It's a hoot. All right. And then Overseer, going to continue to grow our patchwork. And we have a nice wide board now. All right, all we need to do now is draw Antiquity's War and turn all these into 5/5s. That'd be swell. Like, I love the theme of the Lady in the Lake handing out swords, but in mono blue artifacts, I struggle. Yeah. Living Weapon might help. I suspect the reconfigure stuff from Neon Dynasty would be good, because they could be creatures or weapons. You can kind of get like a little Voltron thing happening there. Opponent still attacking with their multicolored creature, even though I can just block that. And now they have a